Hello, good morning and welcome back to our farm in Northern Portugal. This happens to be our 30th episode that we've released from this renovation series. We are renovating this abandoned farm into our dream family off-grid homestead. And it's been something of a complicated journey. But anyway, we are getting ever closer to moving back into the farm, having had to move out because we've had no water on the property. In this episode, we're preparing to get ready to get back onto the farm. And if you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button and joining us for the journey. We would love to have you with us. And with any luck, next week, we will be back on the farm full time. But let's catch you up with what's been going on in the meantime.
Okay folks, I can't actually remember the last time that I filmed myself in this room. It's been chaos. There's so much going on here. So what's taking the time? Searching for product, and we don't want to scrimp on it. We don't want to cut corners. We don't just want to say, okay, it'll do. We really, really, really want it to be cool. A very, very cold morning here just outside of Amarante where we are, and I'm here in the house. I've started work nice and early this morning. I've got a plan to have a look at these windows. At the moment they are, well, let's just say they're just not finished. So I've got to put some frames around them and a nice windowsill, and then put some wood around the edges of them as well, make sure that they look good. So I've come into the house and I'm just looking around. Yesterday evening, I definitely left 2 tape measures right here. One of the challenges of renovating a house in Portugal isn't just the fact that I don't know where to get any of the product from, that I don't really speak very much Portuguese at the moment, but I wish I did. It's just life at the moment is so blooming busy. The biggest challenge, I would say, is having a toddler that really likes to be involved in this kind of stuff. So he comes around and he picks up his tape measure and he starts measuring stuff and making sure everything's... Where was he doing that yesterday now? Anyway, the point is, I don't have a tape measure, either of them, so I can't measure the length of the windowsill, so I can't go to the shops and I can't buy the wood. Worst case scenario, I have to drive into Amarante, 15 minutes away, buy a tape measure, come back, measure what I need to measure, and then go back into Amarante to buy the wood that I need. Worst case scenario. If Crusoe were half a year older, I'm pretty confident I could say, hey Crusoe, where'd you put my tape measure? And he'd go, oh Dad, over here, don't worry about it. But he's just at that age where he's very curious, likes to pick up stuff, run off with stuff, but doesn't really know where he's dropped it. So that's the biggest challenge of today. If life can be filled with challenges that are like that, then I think life will be very good. Tape measure is definitely not in this room. I've looked everywhere, so I'm going to go and have a wander around the farm, see whether I can see it outside. Just check the not garage before we go searching any further to see if it's in here. No, I'm not going to spend too much time in here because unless Crusoe's been in here and put it in here, I know it's not in here because I haven't taken it in here. So we'll go and have a look around. no joy finding the tape measure. I've walked literally around the entire farm, so I think Crusoe's probably put the tape measure inside something. He quite likes to do that. Even went down to the lawn and had a look around. I was walking around along the lawn like this, pace by pace, as if I was some sort of crime scene investigator, and I did find a pair of my pliers buried half deep in the grass. So it was a rewarding trip around the farm this morning, especially because it's so beautiful today, but no tape measure, alas. So I found my square, probably a better tool actually to do this job with, and I'm just going to set it up and I'm going to measure what kind of lengths I've got. I'm going to put board all the way around this, and then a small frame around the edge of that. Just finishing that off. I think the biggest challenge that we're going to have is the depth of what we've got to play with. The windows are very tight up against the wall here. We're going to have some struggles there to make sure that we don't push up too close to the hinges, and of course the bottom part here, it's not particularly high. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. We always do.
Right, baby is asleep, thank goodness, strapped to me. And next job on my agenda is to head up to where we want to put the vegetable garden and just start having a think about how we want to lay it out so that I can start getting things ready, because it's the end of the autumn now, well, in the start of winter really, because we're in November. So it's time to start getting things just laid the foundations for planting in the spring, and making sure that we make the most of next year's growing season. We really would love to become self-sufficient on this farm, and we've got a long way to go and really a lot to learn. So this is just the beginning. I've got my sketch pad and a pencil, and I'd like to be quite creative with this. So might see where we get to. It's all the stuff that I've really been looking forward to getting stuck into on the farm. So I'm really pleased that it can finally get started. So there's an acronym in permaculture which I've just come across, which is WASPA, which stands for Water, Access, Structures, Plants and Animals. So if I try and apply that to this field, it's just going to give me a little bit of an idea of what we can do and what we've got. Obviously, water is really easy because we've got our big storage tank here. We've also got our spring and our well right here. So this is going to be like the heart of our water collection point, and wherever irrigation needs to go on the farm is going to come from here. But it's only be really easy to get water to the vegetables here, which is why we're going to start here. It's also a really, really great field for sunlight. So the sun rises over there and it kind of passes over. And there's not too much shade, although it is shady in the afternoon, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because there's these big trees on this ridge. So hopefully it's enough sunshine. What do you think, love?
I think it's probably the field that's got the most potential in terms of how big it is and how much sunshine it's got and how much water access there is.
Yeah. And also access to the house. You know, you want to think about, I don't want to be clambering down the hill every time I want to get a carrot, isn't it? It's much easier to come here. So so that's cool. The other thing we need to think about, so we've covered water, we've covered access really simply, obviously. So in terms of structures, we've already got a big water tank. That's great. I know I would like to have a greenhouse, possibly a polytunnel, but I think we need to first of all decide what we're going to grow and then go from there. So plants is a big one. I need to write a list of all of the vegetables that I have got that I'd like to grow. And all of the fruit trees we'd like to plant. We need to decide what to do with the orchard. Are we going to take some of those apple trees out? I think we are, and replace them with something different. We will, yeah, because I would like to have apricots and pears. I'd love a pomegranate tree. I think we need some more tangerines. I think we could do with some more kiwis. Yeah. And then the final question, which will, become clearer in time, is animals. At the moment, my plan is animals are super important to kind of get the soil thriving again, to fertilize, to aerate the soil, to graze the soil. And my plan is to speak to Joao's family next door who've got sheep, and I think one of the neighbours up above us has also got sheep. And open our farm up to the sheep so that they can come and graze here as much as they like, so that we get the kind of animal influence here before having to commit to owning our own animals.
Absolutely.
But I think in time we will, won't we?
Yeah.
The next burning question I have is whether or not we use the no-dig no dig planting method, or if we just go old fashioned and stick stuff straight in the ground. I'm leaning more towards no dig. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please pop them in the comments below. And let me know what you think. I think this field though, the weeds are so established that we are going to have to till first and foremost, just to kind of get stuff, well, just to give ourselves a bit of a head start. And then I think some cardboard laid down with some compost makes sense. Smother the weeds. We need to do a bit more research. But anyway, if anyone's got any thoughts, I'd love to hear them.
Me too.
Something I have been really bad at with this whole project, and I really regret, is the fact that I haven't been taking very many before and afters. So I suppose this kind of time up on this field is the before. And I don't know how many years from now, we'll hopefully have a really impressive after that is sustaining and feeding our family. I can't wait.
We are back here in the room. Today's project, since the plasterboard's gone up, it's all gone up very well actually. And while Jose's in the back there, he's still doing some plastering of that back wall. But we've got nice insulation everywhere, nicely plastered ceiling. And like I say, the fireplace is coming along really, really nicely. Quite pleased actually that we kept this hood. It wasn't in the original plans. Originally we were thinking we just knock it all out, but I'm starting to feel like it was a good plan to keep it. Adds a bit of character and also it keeps a little bit of a history of the place here too. So today's project, or not today's, it's going to take a few days to do. We've got this area here right next to the front door and between the window. Eventually we're going to have a kitchen that runs down this wall here, but there's no real place for a fridge there. So the idea is to have the fridge on this wall, and then here we're going to put the boiler back. Well, the obstacles we've got is that the existing plumbing is quite shallow against the wall, and the entrance point there is also very shallow. So we've got that. We've also got some plumbing that's gone in here that we need to cover up, and we want it to look pretty fancy by the time it's done. That's the plan. We'll crack on with it. Oh, and also, of course, always got to lay some cables. So we'll be cracking on with that. The first job, I think, will be to put some battens here and extend this wall out to cover this. We're looking for a 60 centimetre minimum depth inside there, so the fridge can just push back and be sort of flush with the wall. So this is the first job, and then after that, we'll see how we go along. Oh dear, I got so carried away building that cupboard that the day's just gone, and that's it. That's all I've got to show for my day. But it's coming along anyway. We're sort of going in the right direction. You can start to tell how the fridge is going to fit, and I put the door there. It's a shaker style door. We'll see how it works out in the end, whether we can actually make our own doors or whether we have to go and ship it out. But anyway, I think it looks pretty okay. It doesn't look too bad, you know. And that's it. I'm sorry, I really meant to film the whole project, as we were going along, but bloody hell, the day just went by and my head got really into the woodwork, because, you know, I really like woodwork. I don't like plumbing, I like woodwork, and I'm not a big fan of plastering either, which is why Jose's here. But when my head gets into the woodwork, that's it. You know, I'm just disappeared down a rabbit hole. And let's see, tomorrow brings another day and lots to do. Hopefully we can finish off this cupboard or get as far along the road with this cupboard as possible. The electrician's on his way, so we need to really wait for the electrician to come before we start closing up all the walls, because he might need to lay a few extra cables. But starting to feel like we can move back in the house in the next few days or so. Just needs a good clean. So there you have it. The cupboard is all built, it's all there, and it's ready to go. This is now going to be the oven section. We were originally thinking we put a fridge here, but actually I think the fridge is going to be better in a different place, a different location. And the oven, well, because we've got 2 kids, Crusoe and a growing Sawyer, having a raised oven is probably a good idea. So we've lifted it off the ground, we've built a cupboard that can slide into. Fingers crossed, that's the right size. Well, we've got the oven just below us, right here. Let's have a look. I'm going to lift it up and slide it in and see what happens. Oh, it's heavy on. That's tight. So far, so good. At least it fits. I'd say that's pretty close to a win, wouldn't you? Oh, I think we've nailed it. Brilliant. Myself and Jose, the Spanish version of Jose, not the Portuguese, Jose. Jose? Jose. Jose. Yeah, Jose. There you go. We are off to the farm. As Tara mentioned last week, we have been staying in Jose's and Lida's Airbnb. It's right next to their house, very, very close to the farm, 3 minutes away. If you're ever in the Amarante area, definitely recommend it. Nice and cozy, very comfortable. But anyway, we are now on the way to the farm to put the finishing touches to the last little bits that we need to do before we can move in. And the plan is to be moving in ASAP now. We've really got to get our skates on. So today I'm going to go and try and make the water start to work in the smaller stone house. So what that involves is basically taking the sink tap to pieces and putting it back together again. And if I can make that work, that means that we've got a shower that will work in the big house, and we've got a kitchen that's fully workable in the small house. And I think we're pretty much ready to go then. So the plan is, that's the plan today. Jose here, he's going to be helping a little bit with the plasterboarding. There you go, that's how quick it is. From Lida's house to the farm, we are pretty much here now. The valley down towards Marco is completely cloudy, very, very misty this morning. Today we're going in here in this stone building Have a look at the water situation. Now we've got water coming into the farm because Joao's family has very kindly run a 200-meter long pipe from their well into our tank, into our water tanks. Connecting to the mains, that's our backup plan. We are going to have a tap that will stop us from connecting to the mains on the property. When we clean the well and the mine fills up, the little spring that we've got here on the property fills back up again, we can then turn off the mains water supply and be completely off grid again. So that's the ultimate plan. We've got a full tank of water because of the neighbours, good news, but this tap in this kitchen doesn't work. So the plan is today to try and get that tap to work. Once that works, we'll have a fully functioning kitchen, although not quite as nice as the one we've got planned in the building next door. It will serve the purpose whilst we're finishing off that, or whilst we're trying to get the other house prepared and ready to live in. Shower in the other house works perfectly, nice pressure. We've got the hot water boiler working as well. Everything's in place. We just need a kitchen sink to work. So that's the plan for today. I'm not sure how tricky it's going to be, but let's see. Oh, this is going to be gnarly. All right, as everybody knows, I am not very good at plumbing, and because of that, I don't like it very much. Nothing about this looks like it's going to be fun, guys. Let me show you. So we've got some sort of shoelace holding something together, and I had a lot of drips coming from there. I think the best plan of action will be to take the sink out and everything out. So that's going to be okay. That's how we start. That is the current extent of how much water I am able to get running through that tap. Just switch it off now. Just switch it off now. Or not. Definitely the first place to start is to turn off the water from the main tank. And I'll show you as well how much water we've got in there. It's quite a lot. There's the pipe. You can see it running into the Knott garage. That is from the neighbours, from Joao's folks. We got that much water in the cistern, which is great, plenty. But let's just turn it off now. There we go. All right, water off. Back to the building. So pretty here, you know. Got the leaves are just about fallen from the trees now. Something Tara and I were commenting on yesterday about this tree and about how important it is for the courtyard area. Such a beautiful tree. You remember in the summer it's so dominating almost for the courtyard. All the big green leaves and the bees from the next door neighbour's hive, they all come over here and feast on whatever it is that the tree is providing. So it's a hive of energy and lots of life in there. And of course our table sits underneath it. It's such a beautiful place. And anyway, all right, back to the water. Enough nattering. Great. What's brilliant is that that's still running. That'll just be water from upstairs, probably working its way through. Okay, so that's good. It stopped. Next step, try and get this sink top off. That sounds like Tara's just arrived. The boss has arrived, everybody.
I still feel like I just want to set flames to this kitchen. It's horrible.
I think it's quite retro. I quite like it. But,
it smells retro.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Hey Crusoe, what you up to? You got an apple? Hey Crusoe, what you up to? Have you come to help? What do you reckon, buddy? Do you think we'll be able to fix it? Yeah, he says. That's good. Little newbie with his optimism. Love it. What's that? Careful. Is that for me? You are. Oh, no, you were fixing that. Have you done it? Can I have it now? Thank you. Well done. High five, buddy. Yeah. Right underneath. Let me get underneath. Let me see what we've got to fix. There we go. Exactly. That's where it needs to be. Well done. We'll pop that right there. Okay. Yep. And let's see what happens. Daddy starts fooling around with this one here. Can you put the bucket back? Put the bucket back underneath the water, buddy. My apprentice has departed the scene somewhere. Crusoe! I figured. There's a boy that couldn't resist a puddle. What are you doing? Is that a muddy puddle? Those pipes, by the way, everybody, they're the pipes that we're going to hopefully get Mario to dig into the ground and connect us to the mains water supply. You know, for everybody out there with kids, when your kids who are normally quite noisy go very quiet, you know they're up to something. Anyway, Crusoe abandoned the plumbing job, which I wish I could do. In favour of coming and playing in the puddles. So, hey Crusoe, we got work to do, dude. Yeah! We got work to do, Crusoe. Should we go back and do the work? What's really frustrating about this is it's now taking really quite a long time to try and fix something that is, in my mind, going to be sort of a temporary fix until we can put a new kitchen in here. Half of me is just like, rip the kitchen out and fit a new kitchen. It'll be probably quicker, but I don't want to start ripping another kitchen out, especially when I'm trying to build one in another house. So keep going with this and see whether we can change that tap today. But it's frustrating anyway. Go. All right, sink is off. tap is off. Everything's disconnected. My apprentice has disappeared somewhere down towards the lawn. And it smells horrific, like very, very bad. Question now is, do I just buy a new sink system and fit a new sink? It's going to be £100, isn't it? More than that. Tap's going to be 50. Oh, it smells so bad, man. My tape measure anyway, darling?
I did see Crusoe with it yesterday in the courtyard, but he didn't drop it with the other stuff.
No.
Oh, hang on a minute. He was measuring the leaves.
What do you do with measuring the leaves, boy?
I didn't see him drop it, but...
Is the tape measure in here?
Is it in there?
That's called a tape measure. When Daddy asks where's the tape measure, you've got to tell him I dumped it in the leaves.
Crusoe, you're lucky Mummy saw you doing that. There you go.
Good. That would have been a composted tape measure. Very good. All right, let's carry on. So the tape measure has been found.
The sink is almost fixed.
And the project that I'm currently working on at the moment is more of a kitchen project than a room project right now.
It's so exciting. I cannot wait to show you guys what John's been doing because it is incredible.
I'm basically building an entire kitchen for less than £500 with my own hands and a saw.
Yeah.
And a handsaw.
And the results are truly incredible. I am one very lucky and very excited lady.
I'm very lucky because she let me do it. So.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. As ever, please remember, if you haven't already, to hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button and join us for the journey, and all importantly, click on the little bell to turn on notifications so that you never miss an episode from the farm.
You bet, absolutely. We should now go and find Crusoe because he's been way too quiet for way too long.
I can see him over your shoulder and
Is
I
it?
think he's taking up the stage.
Okay, all right. Let's go. We will see you next week, folks. Thanks very much for watching.
See you next week.